Hello again, everyone. I'm Charles Gross.
And I'm Leslie Hoban Blake. Welcome to Two on the Aisle.
Tonight, we're going to talk about Almost Famous. You know, there is a problem if you were watching a show about a 15-year-old covering an up-and-coming rock band on tour for Rolling Stone magazine in 1973, and the most interesting character in the show is his mother. And yet, that is exactly what we found, or what I found, in Cameron Crowe's stage version of Almost Famous. This musical is based on his movie. Crowe wrote the book and the lyrics. Tom Kitt wrote the music and the lyrics. And here you have, now this is a show that has Broadway music, but it also is a show about rock and roll. So Leslie, where's the excitement? Where's the fear? Where's the fun?
Yeah, I saw it on stage. You didn't see what I saw. I know we were sitting at opposite sides of the theater. I have to say that the people in my section of the theater were enjoying the rock concert. We were bopping a little. Our heads were bouncing, with the music. And look, Almost Famous for me was four things and four things only. It was the discovery of Kate Hudson and all the things about her that made the movie lovely. The I Am a Rock Guard number where the guy jumps off the roof into the swimming pool. The Lester Bangs character played by the late Philip Seymour Hoffman, and the lovely Tiny Dancer moment on the bus when they really came together as a family and they all hugged and danced and sat together and sang. Those are the moments in the movie, and those moments were all on stage. So I was happy. I wasn't expecting much more than that.
They were all on stage, but they were not as good, with the exception of Rob Coletti as Lester Bangs. I thought he was fabulous. Lester Bangs is actually a real person. He was a very prominent and
he was
very
the editor
tough,
of Cream magazine.
He was, yes, and that was a good performance. I like Cassie Likes as the young man, William Miller, who's desperately trying to write an article, but also to be liked by the band, even though he's being warned, you're the enemy, don't fall in love with the band. Soleil Pfeiffer takes over Kate Hudson's role as Penny Lane. To me, not quite as wistful as Kate Hudson was. Kate Hudson is a very hard act to follow. They do indeed have the scene where he jumps off the house roof into the swimming pool. Not as sharp as it is in the movie. In fact,
well, how could it be? I think they did a pretty remarkable job considering he was jumping off a roof and falling in slow motion. He managed to do it.
There you go. How could it be? So maybe instead of following the movie shot for shot, scene for scene, they should have adapted it to the stage. Annika Larson is the mother, and she has these two amazingly wonderful theatrical numbers, and she steals the show. That was the most exciting.
For you. For you, not for me.
For me, okay.
She was good. I agree she was good, but she does not steal
and then during the curtain call, where everybody, as they do their bow, gets to rock and roll, she steps up and she blows everybody away. You talk about an up-and-coming cast.
You put your finger on it without actually saying it. The show mixes original Broadway songs with well-known rock songs, and therein lies the problem. They don't mesh well. They do not belong together in my mind. I love the rock numbers. I thought when Jeff and Russell, the two guitarists who are after Penny Lane, are playing, I thought that were brilliant. I thought the four-man band on stage was terrific. Whether they were really playing or not, all of them, I don't know, but they certainly looked as if they were. The two singers were certainly singing, and I loved what they were doing a lot. The rock performers were Chris Wood as the obnoxious but very talented Russell, and Drew Gehling as Jeff, who wanted to be Russell and wasn't. He was sort of a Russell wannabe, and therein was the problem. And they both wanted Penny Lane, and she wanted Russell. So that's the story there. I enjoyed the rock numbers. I found my seatmates enjoying the rock numbers.
I was disappointed with the rock numbers. I just didn't get the excitement that I would expect when you're playing rock and roll. Jeremy Herrin directed the show. Sarah Levy is the choreographer. It's a fun show. Ironically, I felt that the show really came alive after the rock tour ends, and everyone's picking up the pieces. To me, that was the more interesting part of the show.
Well, Tiny Dancer is the Act One intermission number. That's when they definitely become a family, and then everything begins to fall apart in the second act. You know, it's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and it's the sex and the drugs that ruin the rock and roll, and that's what happens in this play. I don't know whether this should have been made into a play. I mean, I really think it should have been left alone as a movie, but since they tried, I think it's a noble attempt. Whether it made it all the way, I don't know, but it's an attempt, and I enjoyed it. And I thought the lead actors that we already mentioned were really terrific, and I thought that Soleil Pfeiffer did a wonderful job. I thought the wistfulness of Penny was there. I thought the fragility was there.
How many playbills would you give it?
Oh, I would give it between 4 and 4.5. I had a good time.
Okay.
And the closing number was exceptional. All musicals should take a note on what they did.
The closing number was exceptional. A lot of what happened after the tour was very entertaining. The problem is the tour is the main portion of the show. So my conclusion on this, almost, but not quite. 3 playbills. And that is our show for this evening. And when you go to the theater, look for Leslie and me, us too,
On the aisle.